What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we actually got some more information about changes that were going on behind the scenes within Battlefield 6 from the beta that we all played moving into Battlefield Labs that's currently going on right now. And a lot of these changes, I feel like some people might have some questions about certain things, but a lot of them, in my personal opinion, are absolutely phenomenal, and I think you guys are going to fall in love with what DICE has done with the overall experience. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget subscribing to that bell. I post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and also a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Pretty much all different types of variety FPS content will be posted on this channel, so subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link the channel down in the description of this video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that has been changed here is all ground vehicles now have a temporary recharging speed boost. This is something that I really do enjoy. Again, the speed boost is very crucial for vehicles to be able to get in and out of combat. But of course, it should be on a recharge rate, so you have to be strategic about when you go about using this boost, right? So this is a good change. Secondly, helicopter engine power has been boosted. I gotta be real, I have no clue what this means, but I'm just hoping it means the helicopters have been rearranged when it comes to the overall flow of them, because I'll be real, out of any Battlefield experience I've ever played, these were the worst helicopter controls I've ever touched upon. And that is like one of my biggest complaints when it comes to Battlefield 6. It's not much that I can complain about. You guys know me. I really enjoy Battlefield 6, but boy oh boy, flying helicopters was an absolute nightmare, and I hope that this has some type of meaning when it comes to them rearranging how they overall feel. Thirdly, they have another change here which is going to be crucial. First-person view in vehicles have been improved. They are now just as viable as firing in third person. For those who don't remember, when you're going around in a tank, if you are the primary gunner, it is nearly impossible, especially on mouse and keyboard. I don't know what it was like on controller, but on mouse and keyboard, if you're in first person, it doesn't matter how much you crank up the vehicle sensitivity, you can't move around. You can't look left, you can't look right. It takes 2 sentries to turn the turret. So, of course, a lot of people always went to third person to be able to engage, because that's the only way you can realistically turn the turret at a normal pace. Now, part of me didn't mind it to a certain degree because it made it so tanks couldn't just kind of charge in and just, blatantly charge at everybody and have, full flexibility by turning in a 360-degree angle and killing everyone out. You had to kind of think. You had to position yourself with the tank and set up for people to, be kind of rotating in front of you. You got to be able to position yourself, basically. But I will say, I would much rather have them change it around this way, and I'm very happy that they went ahead and improved this, because as I stated before, being a primary gunner in the tank was a nightmare. And yeah, positioning definitely helped out a ton. I still think it was overly slow, and the only beneficial thing that you could do is be a secondary gunner, because that's the only way you could actually have the turret turn at a normal rate. So this is a massive change overall. Next up here, the M87A1 shotgun now takes more pellets to score a kill. This is going to be interesting. I'm very curious how they balance this out because, again, I haven't been able to try it out personally. But I think we can all agree the shotguns were absolutely wild within Battlefield 6. I mean, I was hitting some nasty shots. And I understand, realistically, that's how shotguns work. But in video game form, I feel like there has to be some type of balance. And if I'm at a medium range engagement and I'm, getting close to being able to one-tap people with a shotgun over assault rifles being able to beam me out, I feel like we have gotten to a point where it might be a little too much. So I'm curious to see how they balanced it. I just hope they didn't completely kill it. And next up, this is one that I'm a tad bit concerned about, but at the end of the day, I think people will be happy. DICE has made several adjustments to the way weapons behave, with recoil and firing characteristics now more accurately reflecting the chosen weapon. Now, again, they did say for specific weapons, so I don't know about all the guns, but I'm hoping they didn't butcher every gun in the game. I understand a lot of people felt like Battlefield 6 was a bit beamish and every single gun was just kind of a laser beam and you didn't got to worry about, recoil or anything like that. So I understand it needed some adjustments, but I hope they didn't absolutely kill it, because I'll be real, the gunplay within Battlefield 6 was so awesome in the beta. I had a blast with it. I'm trusting DICE that they're able to balance this out in a nice way. Next up here, there's been changes to the range differentiation between weapons. This is a good one in my opinion, because I've noticed that a lot of guns, like SMGs for example, could absolutely beam assault rifle players at certain ranges. So, alongside the shotgun here, I think it's a smart move to make sure each gun in each category is respected at their own ranges. As I stated before, I understand shotguns, SMGs, IRL, if you're catching a bullet, you're catching a bullet. It's not going to be nice. but this is a game. And at the end of the day, in games, you need some type of balance. And the way you balance things out is SMGs are good for close range, assault rifles medium range, DMRs and carbines good for medium to long, snipers long range. Every gun has a situation that they shine at. And I feel like in Battlefield 6, almost all the weapons shined across the board. Well, at least the ARs and SMGs. LMGs and, all the other ones were, you had to kind of pace yourself. But between the ARs and SMGs, it was absolutely mental the work that could be done. So hopefully, these changes are good. Next here, there has been adjustments to movement mechanics with the slide and jump speed reduced. This is a spicy topic. I see a lot of the community, happy about this. And I also see some people in the community very sad about this. I'm going to save this for a completely separate video. All I got to say is I think this is going to make a lot of people happy at the end of the day. But again, I'm not going to speak too far on the topic. We'll save it for another one. Next up here, backend and server-side updates to hit detection in Netcode have been improved since the open beta. I'll be real, the Netcode felt absolutely phenomenal in the beta. The fact that Battlefield 6 ran and performed better than 2042 throughout its whole life cycle, even up to current date, is mind-boggling. 2042 was just an absolute disaster. So, if they're just making the hit detection in Netcode even better than what it already was, I can't wait to see how crispy and smooth it's going to feel. After that, DICE has increased inaccuracies when firing while jumping or sliding, contributing to a gameplay pace that rewards skillful movement without becoming too fast or unpredictable, which again, I'm going to save this for another video when we clump all the movement aspects together and have a movement discussion. And finally, Operation Firestorm and Maroc Valley include a wide variety of terrain and structures that provide a lot of cover. And also, ladies and gentlemen, there was one last thing that I wanted to mention here that they didn't have in this overall post from Battlefield Bulletin, which of course I will leave a link to this post down in the description of this video. But the exclusive Ace actually got a little bit of details behind the scenes. And the health regeneration, I think, was almost cut in half. I think a lot of people were having some problems with the health regeneration, saying it was way too quick, which meant that medics didn't really have an important role because, again, you didn't really need any meds. You just go behind a wall for a couple of seconds and you go right back up to 100 HP. So that has been cut a little bit, so you will not be able to regen your health as quickly as you were able to do so before, but it still seems quite fast. For me personally, I enjoyed the faster regen, as an aggressive player. But I do completely agree with the overall community that it takes away a lot of the purpose of a support player. So I think that the new version is going to have a much better spot within Battlefield 6. And I think it will make a lot of players more happy about the overall situation. And I think that they're going to find a nice balance between basically, making sure that you can still move. You're not going to be sitting in a corner waiting for your health to regen, because you have to keep in mind, medics aren't always around. And in the Battlefield franchise, you can't always rely on a medic to be, a medic, right? A lot of medics are very selfish. They only want to heal themselves or drop ammo for themselves. They're not looking for their teammates, not going for revives. That is usually the typical experience. Now, I will say in the open beta, I saw a lot more people playing a true medic role, but that doesn't really speak much for the full launch. I have not played a singular Battlefield title where medics were truly medics. Of course, on the odd game, you'll get some good ones, but it's not every single game, right? So there's a balancing act that has to be done here, because, of course, you can't have people completely rely off of medics, because then you'll be sitting around waiting 2 years to get your meds back. But at the same time, you don't want yourself to be able to regen very quickly, because if you do, then you'll never rely on medics. So I think finding a middle ground is perfect in this scenario, and I hope that, obviously they were able to find it. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys when it comes to updates between what we played back in the beta, moving forward into Battlefield Labs, and we have no clue what will change moving forward into the actual official launch of the overall game. But from what I can tell, the developers know exactly what they're doing. They understand all the things that have to be changed, all the things that have to be nerfed or buffed, and as I stated before, although some of these things are questionable, I have full faith that DICE is going to pump out something that's very solid here. They have not proven to me a singular time that they don't know what they're doing with this game. Every single time something comes out, every single time there's some brand new drama, they address it instantly, and they change the things that have to be changed to make things overall better. So far, until they actually prove me otherwise and they do something extraordinarily stupid, I am putting my faith into this team, they have done wonders, and the fact that this is nowhere close to being a 2042 situation is already putting a massive smile on my face. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And as I always say, if you want to be updated on all this content, subscribe and hit that bell, because YouTube does not like variety whatsoever. And when you post variety, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to send it into your feed. So if you guys do want to stay up to date with everything that I post, whether it's Call of Duty, Battlefield, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders, Gears of War, the finals, pretty much any shooter that sparks my interest, by all means, as I stated, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, and the same exact thing. They are not too fond of variety, so if you guys are interested in seeing variety gameplay from me, make sure you go ahead and follow that account and hit the bell over there as well, so you know when the streams go live. And also, regardless, they start every single time at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, so regardless if you get noties or not, you know when I'm going to be there, so you guys can come on through. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.